Brimer.
Hi, good morning, Ms. Donahue. I wanted to take this time to go over your child's Iowa test and scores and answer any questions that you might have. This test was called the Iowa Standardized Test, and your child took the test on March 10th. Since it was the week before spring break, it is possible that your student, including some of the other ones, may have been a little distracted because of the upcoming holidays. Let me explain to you what an achievement test is so that you have a better understanding of the information I'm giving to you. An achievement test is given so that we can have a better understanding of what the students have learned and gauge how well they're doing academically. You will see the scores are split up into criteria reference and norm group reference.
Okay, what does that mean exactly? What's the difference between criterion and norm group?
That's a really good question. The norm reference tests show how test scores compare with students who took the same test in the norm group. These are like students to your child, while the criteria reference tests give information on how an individual performs on a specific standardized objective.
Okay.
The norm group is a group of students across the nation that have previously taken the standardized test to compare the scores to your...
I see. Okay.
The norm group consists of 1,500 students across the nation, including students from Texas, California, New York, Iowa, Florida, Virginia, and Colorado.
Okay.
The ethnicity of the students in this norm group were half female, half male, with 21% Caucasian, 22% African American, and 18% Mexican American, 19% Asian American, and 20% miscellaneous.
Okay, so that makes sense. But what do these sections on the paper mean? What are they telling me about Joshua's test scores?
These subtests cover a large academic area, including vocabulary, reading, comprehension, and spelling, capitalization, usage, and expression. There's a lot more on there too, as you can see.
Okay.
To the right of the subtest, you will see a graph right here. And this graph is the percentile score and shows us how well Joshua did in comparison to the norm group. So this middle bar is the norm group, and this is where his scores compare.
Okay.
This is not his percentage score, though. This is a look, that one we can look at on the bell curve right here.
Okay.
And he scored in the 75 percentile, and the norm group is 50%. So he actually scored above average in his group.
Oh, okay. What's the difference between percent and percentile?
The percent is how he did, and then the percentile is the...
Was it how he did in comparison?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I see. That makes more sense now. So, how are the tests graded?
The raw score is converted... Which is over here. The raw score is converted to a standard score by using formulas that allow those scores of different tests to be compared on a common scale, so they always have the same mean and standardized deviation, which shows on the bell curve.
Oh, I see.
On this bell curve, the mean was 200, and the standard score range for this test was 181 to 223, which is over here. Okay. Your child falls in the above average section since he scored 75%.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay, right here.
Yes.
Oh. Okay, so is my child being compared to students in the same range, or same age range as him, or just any students?
There are different types of standard deviation scores. One being a grade equivalent. A grade equivalent is a score that indicates the median score of the students in their norm group at the same grade and at the same month. So it's comparing exactly where they are in the school year to exactly where your child is as well.
Oh, okay.
So it shows us how he compares to kids who took the same test at the same age as Joshua.
Oh, okay, that seems more fair. Seems like there's a lot of different scores used on the test, though. What are the main scores to show the overall picture?
There's a lot of scores, and I know it can be kind of confusing and overwhelming. One of the other main scores is called a Stanine score. Okay. This score is based on dividing the normal distribution into 9 parts, with each part being half standard deviation wide, which is shown on the bell curve. These scores are less precise, but are easier to report and understand since it's a visual. 1, 2, and 3 are the lower stanines.
Okay.
And then 4, 5, and 6 are the middle ones.
I see.
And then 7, 8, and 9 are the higher ones. This just shows us where your child falls on the bell curve.
Okay.
So it compares to up here.
Oh, I see. They all line up.
Yes.
Okay. So, I see how my child did on the subtests and in the norm reference section, but how did he do in the bottom part, the criterion part, reference part?
Over here?
Yeah, over here.
Okay, the bottom part is the criteria reference, and like I said in the beginning, this refers to your child's performance on a specific standard or objective. Take a moment to look over the scores and let me know if you have any questions about any certain parts.
Okay.
In specific.
So it looks like he did mostly average or above average here.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
he did a good job. And I don't know if you understood what these were up here because those can be confusing
yeah.
if you even
What
saw
did that
those.
mean?
These are the total number of items that were covered in the subsection.
Uh-huh.
And for the first one, it says total number of items covered. And then number attained is the number that he tried.
Okay.
And so if he didn't try any, but in most of it, he tried all of them, it looks like. And then the percentile, this one right here, is the percent answered correctly by Joshua.
Oh.
And then the next section is the percent answered correctly by the norm group. And so it's the national percent compared to his.
I see now. That makes more sense.
Yeah. So some of Joshua's strong scores were in names and titles, or we can see under capitalization. In names and titles, he scored 100%, which is really good. He also did a really good job in single set problem solving, measurement, and history. So he had a few weaker areas though, but this test is just like a snapshot basically of what they're doing. And like I said in the beginning, like spring break coming up, they could have had, not their mind completely focused. I don't think that was the best time to have it, but there's certain times we have to.
It landed.
But some of the weaker areas included organization and groups on a map and a diagram, so maybe work with him on that.
Okay.
And according to his portfolio though, he's done a really good job in the past on that, so like I said, maybe this is just, that one test he didn't do quite as well on.
Right.
And this doesn't mean that he doesn't understand the concept. It's just the different factors that may have played into it.
Gotcha. Okay, so what can I do as a parent to help Joshua become stronger in these areas that he scored so low in?
That's a really good question. It's really great that you want to work with them at home. It always helps the students when the parents are actively involved. Some things that you could do, you could consider doing at home would be practice capitalization of proper nouns, particularly organizations and groups.
Okay.
Practice looking at maps and making sure Joshua understands the information given on the map. So maybe when you're driving, be like, where are we on this map? Like, what's around us?
Yeah.
Just, because he'll recognize where you are in the city, most likely. So just, were there any other questions you might have had about his scores?
I don't really have any further questions right now. You seem to explain it really well, but something might come up and I might have a question later. But if that happens, I can just ask you. But is there any handouts maybe you have that can help me remember?
I can give you these and they can help me remember. And then thank you so much for coming in, and I would be happy to give you these handouts that you can look over so that you remember what his scores were. Please feel free to contact me whenever if you have any questions.
Thank you.
So
thank you, Mrs. Breimer. Thank you for all your help. All right.